Hi guys, welcome back to Alpha Omega Occasionally. This channel's becoming more and more popular thanks to you, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. And the question in this video on this occasion is, why is Thailand so popular? I mean, really, if you think about it, I mean, I could have gone to French Guiana. French Guiana, as you probably know, is just north of Brazil on the South American continent. And why would I go to French Guiana? Well, the reason, it's a no-brainer. It's part of La République Française, which means it's part of the European Union, which means it has, well, it doesn't necessarily mean, but it's in the Eurozone, it has the Euro as its currency, and because it's part of the Eurozone, and because it's part of the EU, as an EU passport holder, I can live and work there without a visa, as the same as I could work in any other part of the EU. And there's various other places around the world that will afford EU passport holders the same privilege. What's the one? New Caledonia. New Caledonia is in the South Pacific, but New Caledonia isn't quite as attractive. Well, it's very attractive, but it's not as attractive a proposition, say, as another place, because of the expense. It's a very expensive place to live, but I could have gone there because it's part of the EU. I could have gone to French Guiana because it's part of the EU, and there's oodles of other let's say far-flung colonial outposts of France or the Netherlands, Spain, we have the Canary Islands. Anyway, look, I'm going on. By the way, the Canary Islands is another no-brainer. Any EU citizen can live and work in the Canary Islands if they so wish, off the coast of West Africa. Anyway, these places are beautiful. These places have lovely climates. But why Thailand? Why choose a place where you have to jump through hoops and you have to go through the bureaucracy of applying for a visa every year? And no matter what visa, well, I won't say no matter what visa you're on, but I'm on an O visa and I'm married to a Thai, which means I have to reapply for a visa every 12 months because your visa is only valid for 12 months. And that is a time-consuming and bureaucratic procedure. And it's inexpensive, but it's expensive in terms of time. And it's like a stone in your shoe. The 90-day report thing, it's a necessity. You're required to do it, and there's no argument there because you have to do it if you want to stay here. But it's like a stone in your shoe. It's a necessary evil. But if I was to live in a part of the European Union that's not part of the main landmass of Europe, let's say, in other words, the colonial outposts, or former colonial outposts, I could live visa-free, trouble-free. And I could do this wherever I find myself. I could do this in French Guiana. And you might ask yourself, what content would be appealing to you if it was coming from French Guiana? Probably not as popular a content as the content that comes from Thailand. Why? Because Thailand's so popular. But why is Thailand so popular? Well, I'll tell you why Thailand. Well, for me, Thailand has the climate, that's for sure. It's a tropical climate. This is mid-November. The air is still, it's about 32, 33 degrees, and it's 9:30 in the morning. That's one of the obvious reasons. Probably the most obvious reason for me. The weather was the main draw. It's the affordability of living here. It's relatively, when I say relatively, relative to wherever, but it's relatively cheap to live in Thailand. It's an affordable place to live. And the safety of the country. You can walk the streets of Bangkok in absolute safety. well, nothing is absolute, but as close to absolute as you could get, or as you could expect. And the people are damn friendly. It's true. And the things that go against living in Thailand is the bureaucratic visa application process. And that's not a criticism of Thailand, you see, that's just the way it is. If you want to stay here, that's what you've got to do. So that's a negative aspect of it. The other thing is, and we mentioned it before in another video, and lots of fellas have gone on about it, and I'm not going to go on about it, but just say this new tax thing that's coming in January of next year. I don't know, it's up in the air. I don't know where I stand with that. Well, I do know where I stand, but I don't know how I'm going to approach it. But these are things that will affect your let's say your thought process in terms of your satisfaction with living in Thailand. I'll put it this way: if I had the resources to live anywhere in the world that I'd want to live, I would choose to live in a place like New Caledonia, because of the fact that I don't need to apply for a visa, and because the climate is similar to here, and it's very, very European. You know it. It's a nice place to live. Or I might live in the south of France or the south of Spain, because I don't need a visa. And if I had enough money, I could afford a nice accommodation. You see, if I was to live in the south of France or south of Spain, I'd need to have a lot of money, because it's the south of France is quite expensive. South of Spain, not so expensive, but at the same time, more expensive than Thailand. You see, in Thailand, that's the attraction. In Thailand, you don't need a lot of money. You see, this is it. You don't need a lot of money to live out your days here. I mean, look where I am. This doesn't cost a lot of money. I'm not going to go through all ground and other videos, but this is affordable. This is you could live in a place like this with an income of $2,000 a month. We discussed that before, but that's not what it costs you to live here. But you could live in Thailand and reside in a place like this and have all your other expenses paid for $2,000 a month. So why Thailand? The question isn't as easily answered today as it was in the past. And because after spending 11 years going through the visa process every year, and the new rules that come in for this and that every so often, you begin to question, why is Thailand still so popular? But it is. And that's the way it is. If you look at YouTube, you will see oodles, and I mean oodles of YouTubers who have based themselves in this wonderful place, making wonderful videos about this wonderful place. You will see oodles and oodles of YouTubers who are in Vietnam or Laos or Malaysia, but I dare say you won't find as many as you'll find here, because Thailand is a very popular place. Guys, I hope you found this video informative, and I hope that if you did, make sure you click that like button if you haven't done so already, the share button, the subscribe button, do all those wonderful things, and I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.